All right, good morning. Well, first and foremost, welcome to week 31, also known as mini DBQ week, my darlings. So we are doing a crash course on mini DBQs this week. We have a ton of stuff to talk about. We have a lot going on. We are going to talk about a bunch of things that I posted yesterday really quickly, and then we're going to start with our assignment. If you have not opened up Edsby and downloaded the things that I posted yesterday, please open up Edsby right now and start downloading. I also just posted a rubric this morning. You're going to want to download that as well. Today, I'm doing two videos today. So I'm doing two videos today. I know we don't have school tomorrow, and I'm not teaching tomorrow because I'm not allowed to, which is why I'm doing two videos today. I'm not trying to be rude to anyone. I know tomorrow is a big holy day for Christians, and I get that. And if your family celebrates, please celebrate and enjoy the day and stuff like that. But the reason why I'm doing two lectures today is because your girl's due date is Saturday. So I'm trying to get in as much content as possible before we go. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anyone's religions. You guys do what you need to do. But I'm simply just trying to get content done because I want to make sure you guys feel pretty comfortable with the DBQs before I disappear for a couple days. Does that make sense? Hello? So keep in mind, you do not have to be at my 1 o'clock meeting today, and I am going to record it. So I am going to record it and post it on Plant Lectures. So you don't have to be there at 1 o'clock. If you want to be there at 1 o'clock, great. If you don't want to be there at 1 o'clock, that's not a problem. I'm recording this lecture and my 1 o'clock lecture. So you can do whatever makes you feel more comfortable. We're doing two worksheets today, one at 9 a.m. and one at 1 p.m. The 1 p.m. one is still due on Monday. So you're either going to do it with me or you can watch my video and complete it for yourself. Everyone okay on that? I'm just running out of time. Literally, I am running out of time. So there's two meetings today, one at 9, which you clearly know, and then one at 1 o'clock. And I'm working on two assignments. I'm working on DBQ practice number 1 and DBQ practice number 2. So if you can be there at 1, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. I am recording it and I will post it on Plant Lectures. So a couple things I do want to talk about before we get going. So this is what I posted yesterday. So this is your agenda for the week. So just so everyone knows exactly what is happening, and this isn't my most updated one, so stop sharing that. I posted a second one. Let me pull that open. Don't save, that is wrong. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry, I was grading this morning before I got here, and that's why it's not perfectly perfect, because I'm trying to make sure you guys are feeling okay about your Barron's books. How are we feeling about our Barron's books? How did that go? Went okay? Hopefully you see that it is a good skill. It is helpful. If you also hate it, I'm not mad about it. It is a lot of work. I'm well aware. You are not my first generation of kids doing it. I will tell you, the videos are hilarious. Some of you get dressed up for it. Some of you try being cute, and then some of you just look like pure hatred. Just pure unadulterated hatred. I will tell you, for some reason, 99% of the videos, the sound doesn't work. So I can see you talking to me, and I don't know what you're saying. I'm so sorry. I don't know if it's because I'm old and I don't have Instagram and turned up all the way or something. I don't know. So if you send me a video where you're telling me stuff, I'm not going to know. I'm so sorry. I have no idea what you're telling me in your videos. So please don't hate me. If I don't respond to whatever you said, it's not because I hate you. Okay. So this is your agenda for the week. This is what I posted. It's been updated. So today in our meeting this morning, first of all, you do have a vocab quiz. I already have a couple people have already finished it already. Good for you. Week 9 vocab is this morning. For our 9 a.m., we're going over essay formats for mini DBQs, and we're going to start day 1, contextualization. If you haven't downloaded that worksheet, I would download it now. At our 1 o'clock meeting, we are going over reviewing of the formats of the rubric, of course. We're going to make sure everyone feels comfortable with contextualization, which is what we're doing this morning. And then we're talking about understanding the documents. So that is our 2 practices of the day, which have already been posted. So if you do not have them, download them now from Edsby, and we'll be looking at them today. Now, for homework, so you have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you need to complete both practices of DBQ practice number 1 and number 2. So contextualization and understanding the documents, and it's due by 9 a.m. Monday morning, okay? So you can either take a picture of handwritten documents, or you can type into the document, either or. The reason why you have that option is because on AP day, you have the option of typing the document or handwriting the document. So it's completely up to you how you want to do it, but it needs to be in my mailbox by 9 a.m., okay? Tomorrow is day 2. We have no school. You still have 2 major assignments due on Monday morning. Everyone's clear on that, yes? Okay. On day 3, now keep in mind, my due date is Saturday, and I've been asking and I've been praying, and Hank and I are hopefully on the same team of him not coming until Wednesday. We've been talking about it. We've been really talking about it, and I think he's in agreement. But if I'm not here, you guys are working on practice 3 without me. And you'll see today that it's self-explanatory. I tried to be as explicit as possible. And that is due on Tuesday morning by 9 a.m. Is everyone clear on the expectations here? Yes? Hello? We're good? Are we alive? Okay. So Tuesday, on Monday, you have week 11 vocab. Tuesday, you have week 12. If we're together, we're going to start writing a full DBQ, a 5-document DBQ, not a full DBQ. On the Mongols, you're going to do it in 10 minutes of planning and 35 minutes of writing. We're going to model it after what you'll be doing. You need to completely finish that for homework. Hopefully we're practically going to finish it in our little meeting, because our meetings are an hour long and we're supposed to do it in 45 minutes long. So hopefully we can do it together, and it needs to be submitted by 9 a.m. on Wednesday. Whether you type it or handwrite it doesn't matter to me, because that's how AP is going to accept it. Then on Wednesday, we're going to go over essay formats one more time. Then you all by yourself are writing a mini DBQ for the end of communism. You're going to plan it in 10 minutes and you're going to write it in 35 minutes, following the structure that AP has laid out for us, okay? It needs to be done in 45 minutes because you need to be practicing. So keep that in mind. You can either handwrite it or you can type it, because those are the guidelines AP has set for us. And on a Wednesday, JP asked me a question at the beginning: should we be working on Barron's books throughout the DBQ writing week? No, you should not be working on Barron's books. Barron's books are worked on in the specific weeks that we're in. Right now we're in writing week, which means we're only focused on writing week. However, next Wednesday, you should begin working on your Barron's book, because now you're into Barron's books, okay? So, is everyone clear on what the agenda is? Okay, and that has been posted for you. Make sure you know exactly what is happening. Now, if I don't show up to Monday's meeting, okay, are you just wandering the world and saying you have no idea what to do? Hello? No, you know exactly what to do. Everything's been posted for week 31. Now, I do want to pull up one more thing, just because I am nervous, because my due date is this weekend and I want to make sure everyone knows exactly what is happening. So when we talk about if I go into labor this weekend, which, like I said, me and Hank are on the same page Wednesday, you already have seen that you have all of your assignments posted for this week. Hopefully you have them all open. I posted them yesterday, so they're all right here. Now, over here in your pinned column, these are your review documents, okay? If you open up that, you will see that I have all of your weekly agendas posted for you. I also have all of your, not only do I have your daily agenda, your weekly agendas planned for, I have your week by week videos. So your day by day videos, which I showed you last week. Keep in mind, this doesn't start until week 32, ladies and gentlemen. So is this writing week or is this next week? It's next week. So you're still doing everything we're supposed to be doing for writing week. This starts on Thursday of next week. So I am planning to be here till Wednesday. This is supposed to start on Thursday. Hopefully everything goes to plan. So I'm just pointing this out for you. So everyone is clear on what happens if, God forbid, I go into labor this weekend. Yes? Everyone understands exactly what should be happening, because I don't want anyone to say they had no idea what they should be doing. All right, perfect. What up, JP? Are you talking about week 31 or week 32? Oh, that's on week 31. It's the second from the top of your post, from the top of your page. All right, so everyone should have open on their desktop their DBQ practice, number 1, day 1. And you should have your 2020 AP World 2020 mini rubric out on AP World APM Digital 5 document mini DBQ. Please have those out on your desktop. We're going to start talking about them now. So what we have here is the mini rubric. Now, this was just released by College Board on Friday of last week, and this is what they're asking. And I added a lot more information to help kind of make things a little bit clearer for you. So when we're talking about the mini DBQ, keep in mind, in 45 minutes, you're supposed to go and read through 5 documents, and you're supposed to analyze them, assess them, and then form an argument with them, all in 45 minutes. Keep in mind, they gave you an hour and 15 minutes to do 7, and now they're giving you 45 minutes to do 5. So how are you going to earn points? These are things we've already talked about, but I just want to make sure that we have. For your thesis, within the time period of the DBQ, 2 significant skills, topic were the argument of group 1 and argument of group 2. So the biggest change that you should immediately see is you only need 2 groups. How many groups do you need? Show me fingers here, people. How many? Yes, Mia. Oh, thank you so much for telling me. Thank you, Mia. Because I'm looking at it like, how are you people not looking at this? Thank you, Mia. Thank you. Do you see it now? Perfect. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you only need 2 groups. You do not need 3. You need 2 groups going forward. That is all you need in order to score for this year's DBQ. Now, next year, when everything goes back to normal and we're at school again, how many groups do you need for A push next year? 3. But for 2020, how many do you need? 2, because we're in a 45-minute mini. So what will your thesis could look like? Within 1900 to present, 2 significant transformations brought by new technology with the rise of international trade organizations and increased globalization due to the internet. Perfect. That's it. 2 groups. We talked about date. We talked about restating the prompt. That's it. Everyone okay on thesis? So the biggest change that you need to know is that it's 2 groups, not 3. So when we talk about documents, ladies and gentlemen, okay, they say that you need to have at least 2 documents. You need to have, ladies and gentlemen, 4 documents. You can leave 1 out. Why do we use 4 documents? Because every document you use, you get extra points. You can get bonus points for. Ladies and gentlemen, you will use all 4 documents in your argument. Is everyone clear on that? Yes? Because you're going to make mistakes in some places, and we're going to fix those mistakes in other places. Now, if you can use all 5, that's even better, because that's the skill we've been practicing throughout this whole year, okay? So when you're looking at it, we want this. This is the one we're going to follow, Okay, you're going to use all 4 documents that you have to reference the document and connect them to your argument. So just saying document 3 shows us blah, 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 the skills and stuff that we've been practicing all year. Okay, evidence. You need to have 2 pieces of outside evidence, 1 in each paragraph. Remember, you only need 2 groups, correct? So if you only have 2 groups, you should have plenty of outside evidence. Everyone clear on that, yes? Okay, so sourcing. Sourcing means you're using purpose, point of view, or audience for the document. You need to use it in every single case. Now, when we're going forward, you only need to do point of view once, audience, purpose, all that stuff once in each of the body paragraphs. So it is not too bad. They have abbreviated the schedule, the rubric for you. It does make sense. It is logical. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. However, it's still not ideal, and obviously we wish we weren't doing it. Can we agree? However, it is pretty fair. They are giving you some time. Now, the most important thing that we can do is follow the structure of 10 minutes of planning, 35 minutes of writing. That is the huge, most important thing that we focus on, is 10 minutes of planning, 35 minutes of writing. Okay, so when we're talking about sourcing and stuff like that, you will see how important it is. Okay, so that's the rubric. Does anyone have any questions about the rubric? It is just a modified one of one we've been addressing. Now you'll notice that at the bottom of the rubric, which I just clicked out of, it does have complexity, which is like your synthesis point. So if you can do it, do it. If you can't, you can't. Focus on the points you can get. Everyone's using at least 4 documents. I prefer 5 documents. You only need 2 groups. You're going through and you're assessing every single document and you are going to implement it throughout. Everyone okay? Now, keep in mind, with the DBQ, and with everything being as strange as it is in 2020, they are going to give you more benefit to the doubt. Is everyone clear on that? So they're going to be more lenient with you than they have been in previous years, which is a good thing for you. So, but you still got to do the work. Is everyone clear on that? You still got to show up. You still got to perform. You still got to put it down on paper. So the most important thing that you can do is show up and be prepared, which of course we are. Okay. Any questions on the rubric? All right, perfect. Let's start the practice then. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please pull out mini DBQ practice 1, please. Now, if you just have it on your computer and you did not print it out, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. If you did print it out because you're fancy and you have a printer, show off, because I don't even have a printer. But I do think it's important that you are practicing this skill by looking at it on your computer, because on the day of your exam, you're going to receive it via computer. So everyone should have it open on their screen. I would suggest practicing doing this on your screen, because that's how you're going to get your documents. You're not going to be able to print them off or anything like that. So just being able to look at the documents and all that stuff is the easiest and the best way to do it. Everyone okay with that? Makes sense? Why we're practicing it this way? Yes? Okay. So today what we're dealing with is contextualization. Okay, so contextualization, as we've talked about, you get a whole point for it. Who can tell me what contextualization is? Yeah, so what's going on in that time period? So we were just reading on my explanation of the rubric. We talked about 1900 to present. So if you had to do a contextualization on 1900 to present, what could you have written about? Yeah, you could talk about World War I, World War II. What else could we have talked about? Cold War, absolutely. Cold War absolutely scores. What else? There you go. Absolutely. So just depending on what the prompt is, kind of dictates exactly what we could be talking about. But it's talking about whatever is happening in the time period that they present. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're really talking about contextualization, even though we've been working on this skill and you guys are pretty good at it, because it's the easiest point on the page. It is the easiest point on the page. It is the easiest point on the page. So we're going to make sure we earn that point. Is everyone clear on that? Okay. So when we're talking about contextualization, what we're really looking at is seeing how things score. So here is a practice prompt. Okay, so using the documents provided, evaluate the effects of various strategies implemented by governments that promoted their own state-sponsored visions of industrialization during the period of 1750 to 1900. Okay, so we're talking about industrialization in 1750 to 1900. So, an example of contextualization, that this is very wordy, very complicated. We're going to simplify it a little bit, but from the late 18th century to the late 19th century, the world underwent dramatic political change as political powers in the world fell and new power rose to dominance. For most of the last 500 years, empires like China and the Ottomans gathered enormous power throughout their regions from their economic dominance of long-distance trade routes, and areas like Western Europe and Russia were by comparison much weaker. This all changed, however, when the Industrial Revolution began in England and was soon adopted by many countries who used it in place of historical trade routes to become new global powers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you read this, do I know what I'm talking about? Hello? Yes. Okay. Is it clear? And have I laid down a foundation that is easy for me to build on later? Hello? Hello? Is anyone alive? Yes? Okay. So, with that being said, this is a very absolutely flawlessly perfect example of contextualization. It is flawlessly perfect. There is no way AP could not give me a perfect score on that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, how often do you think you're going to have that much time? Do you think you're going to be able to write that much or write less? You're going to probably have to write less, especially in 45 minutes in a shorter DBQ. However, I wanted to show you what an absolutely, absolutely flawlessly perfect example of contextualization looked like. That was it. We are going to do the best we can, but we're going to try to keep it short, keep it simple, and get the point and move on. Keep it clean, get the damn point, and move the hell on. Everyone clear on that? Yes? Okay, so let's take a look at what the actual assignment is for the rest of the day. So, for this part. So what we're going to be doing, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you look through the rest of the document, you are, oh, Evelyn, look at you fancy pants who printed it off. Look at you fancy pants. All right. So if you see, I have done one example. I've given an example. I've given you a prompt. Then I wrote out an example. Then you have 5 other ones that you are doing for homework to practice this skill. Now, you can either handwrite them or you can type them into the document. I don't care. This is due by 9 a.m. on Monday morning. Is everyone clear on what the expectation is? Okay, so what we are going to do in class, because we're going to be working on this together, and whenever we don't finish in 36 minutes, is your responsibility to finish for homework. Is everyone clear? Yes? This is the same type of thing that you will be seeing in document 2. For DBQ practice for number 2, I'm just going to pull it up just to make sure everyone is comfortable and knows exactly what is happening. So for DBQ practice number 2, it's the same exact thing. So we're obviously doing 1 right now together, and we're going to pick that up here in a second. However, on your number 2, it's the same type of thing. I'm going to teach you a skill. I'm going to give you an example of it, and then you're going to show me what it looks like. And I just saw it. There we go. Absolutely. You're going to see me writing this on my computer paper that I always write on, Arlie. You're going to see it here in a second. So because I'm going to pull up my projector here in a moment. So this is DBQ number 2. This is what I'm doing, DBQ practice number 2. This is the one I'm doing at 1 o'clock. As you can see, it's the same type of format, except I'm focusing on documents at 1 o'clock. So what's going to happen is that I've explained what the purpose is. I've given you a prompt, and I've given you a couple of documents. So then what you're going to do, and they didn't load because this thing doesn't like loading. What you are going to do is you're going to read the 2 documents that I've provided, and then you're going to answer that question as best as you can. We're just practicing. So that's what I'm doing at 1 o'clock. So if you're going to do it without me, which is perfectly fine, you're going to read through my explanations. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you an example of how this should be implemented using the 2 documents below, and then you're going to practice doing that 5 times. Everyone understand exactly how these formats work? Everyone understand exactly what is needs to be done by Monday? Everyone okay? Hello? So if you come back at 1 o'clock, I will be doing the documents with you. If you just want to watch my plant lectures later on in the weekend, that is perfectly fine too, because I'll be recording it as well. Okay? Everyone all right? So let's begin working on document number 1 then, which is what the assignment for us at 9 o'clock is. So I'm pulling up my Elmo here. I'm going to have it on my screen, but I want you to see what I am working on. Okay, so for you, what I would have up is so you can see my screen, but you can also see the practice. So, here we go. Share my screen, my live image. Okay, so we are looking at contextualization. So we're going to do the first one together. So using the documents provided, evaluate the extent to which the Industrial Revolution negatively impacted the lives of women and children in the industrial societies during the 19th century. So we need to come up with a contextualization. So the whole prompt is based on Industrial Revolution negatively impact. So on my paper, I'm just going to write Industrial Rev negative impact for women. Okay, so I need to have contextualization. Now, when we talk about contextualization, we need to talk about what is happening in the world at this time. So, what is happening in the world at this time, ladies and gentlemen? Oh God, guys, the faster we go together, the less you have to do by yourself. Come on. Okay, yeah, but remember, we're talking about the Industrial Revolution, and we're talking about women. So throwing out, like, imperialism isn't going to help lay the foundation, because essentially what contextualization is we're laying the foundation for whatever the discussion is going to be. Oh, hold on. Someone started talking before you, JP. Who was talking before?
I was just going to say, like, urbanization, people started working in factories, and the women had to begin working in factories.
Okay, I think we're starting to get there. Okay, so what other major changes are happening in society besides and during the Industrial Revolution? So we have urbanization. Okay, so so we can talk about urbanization. I think is a good word that we could include. Urbanization. What else is happening? We did talk about imperialization. We'll see if we can tie that in. What else can we throw in there, people? Okay, development of technology. And what do you mean by that? Okay, so we're talking about like factory system?
Yeah.
All right. You want to talk about factory system? That's fine. Now, keep in mind, this is about negative impact. So pre-factory system, what did we have going on? What is the name of the system pre-factory system that women were the ones spearheading economically? Cottage industries, yes. So Cottage industry. So ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, the prompt is talking about the Industrial Revolution's negative impact for women. So for contextualization, we want to talk about how the world is changing because of industrialization. Does that make sense? Okay, so I think what we should really focus on is how the evolution. So let me just check my prompt real quick. So using the documents provided, evaluate the extent to which the Industrial Revolution negatively impacted the lives of women and children in the industrial societies during the 19th century. Okay, so I'm going to write during the 19th century. During the 19th century, the Industrial Revolution ushered into Europe and the Americas and to, I'm just going to say, and to the United States, a new technology-based system called the factory system, which will economically push Europe and US economically ahead, worldwide, but deplete women's economic role and control in the economy. There we go. So during the 19th century, the Industrial Revolution ushered into Europe and to the United States a new technological-based system called the factory system, which will economically push Europe and U.S. economically ahead worldwide, but deplete women's economic role and control in the economy under the previous cottage industry foundation. Of the economy. Perfect. There we go. Now, that is one hell of a long sentence. Can we agree? Okay, so it's not the most beautiful sentence I've ever seen. It is definitely lengthy and there's a lot going on. So if you want to do your contextualization in more than one sentence to break it up, you are more than welcome to, for sure. I could easily break it up. Ahead worldwide. If you want to put a period there. However, we can write however here, and we can break it up into two sentences. However, it will deplete women's economic role in the economy if you want to shift there and sit there and break it up. Okay? That's what a contextualization needs to look like. With it being such a big point on such a small scale now, keep in mind, in your old DBQs, you used to have up to about 27 points to earn. Now you only have 10 points. Do we see how this has become significantly more important? Yes? Hello? Are we alive? Can you hear me? Hello? Yes? Okay. So with that being said, we need to really make sure that we hit that contextualization really, really hard in order to make sure that we are earning these points where we can. Any questions on this one?
I was just wondering, like, is it cottage industry and like factory system and all that? Wouldn't that be good evidence for the actual essay?
So as long as you can go through, now if you look at the example that I did provide for you, there's plenty of regional stuff and all that other stuff. It is evidence, and we need to show, because there is a higher expectation on your contextualization now that we're in this mini DBQ thing. For 2020, there's a higher push on that contextualization point, which is why I'm having you write more than I've taught you throughout the year. That's the problem. With that being said, you're not going to earn those points unless you have a little bit more evidence in it. And that's the biggest pain that all the teachers in the country are pissed off about. So you just have to have a little bit more sophistication, which requires more evidence. Now, later on, you can discuss some of this stuff, but you're going to have to provide other outside evidence. So I'm sorry, but we got to make sure we hit that point because that's even more important now than it was before. Does that help? I know you probably don't like that answer, but that's what's happening.
I understand that. I'm also confused though, like, isn't evidence supposed to be like not specifically about what you're, or contextualization not supposed to be specifically about what you're talking about? Like it's supposed to be like in general.
So this whole prompt is based on the Industrial Revolution, which means it has to be based on Europe. It doesn't have to be based on Europe, but we're talking about big broad sense. We're talking about the industrialization as in Europe and the United States. So we're bringing in 2 regions already, which technically broadens it beyond the prompt. The second major thing is that we're talking about the factory system and we're talking about the cottage industry, which is very varied and it's found throughout the entire world. So because of those varying topics, it will score perfectly. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Good question, Cadence. I appreciate it. All right. Everyone else okay? So you can either handwrite these or you can type them out. It's completely up to you, whatever you feel most comfortable with. So for your first one, we're done with the first. Let's move to the second, shall we? All right. Perfect. So I'm scrolling to my next prompt. Using the documents provided, so I'm going to scratch out. I'm not going to scratch it out, but I'm going to write number 2 so I can see. Using the documents provided, evaluate the causes of the rise of nationalism throughout the world during the period of 1750 to 1900. So we're talking about the rise of nationalism. 1750 to 1900. All right. So here we go. So let's brainstorm. What is happening in the time period of 1750 to 1900 that has some sort of effect on nationalism?
Colonies wouldn't become independent.
No, they're not becoming independent at this point. Are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about like the American Revolution, American, French, Haitian. Fine. Okay, but what else is happening here, people? Come on. Guys, the faster you move, the less homework you have to do by yourself. Come on, come on. All of these are all based on what, people? Okay, imperialism is happening, but that wasn't the answer to the question I just asked. Enlightenment, yes, enlightenment, absolutely, ideals, okay? So we have imperialism happening. Anything else going on that affects nationalism?
Individual rights.
Well, that's all Enlightenment ideas. We have the unification of 2 major European countries. What are those? There you go. Germany and Italy. Perfect. All right, so let's do it. So during the time period of 1750 to 1900, nationalism is rising due to what can we say here? So we have some brainstorm here. Okay, so we've got the basic foundation. So nationalism is rising. So what do you think is the best explanation for it?
The spread of the Enlightenment ideas.
Okay, due to the spreading of Enlightenment ideas. That will challenge and embolden countries to rethink their own political structures and inspire others to embrace these new ideals brought about by the success of the French and American revolutions. Okay, there you go. So during the time period of 1750 to 1900, nationalism is rising due to the spread of Enlightenment ideas that will challenge and embolden countries to rethink their own political structures and inspire others to embrace new ideals brought about by the success of the French and American revolutions. All right. What do we think? Are we feeling okay? Are we just annoyed? Are we stressed? How are we doing, people? Okay. Thoughts? We're down to, what do we got?
I have a question.
Sure.
With Sam.
Sure.
Do you think that we should still do our happies or annotations as a sheet of paper, or should we just...
You have to do some sort of annotations. You have to. And that's really what I'm talking about at 1 o'clock, Evelyn. That is really what I'm talking about. And that's the strategy we have to. Because as you saw, you have to do a point of view. You have to do an audience for those documents. It's specifically stated. So at 1 o'clock, we're really going to go through it. And we're going to really practice those skills because you're not going to have the documents in front of you. You're going to have to look at them on a screen, and we're going to talk about the strategy in order to do it. And that is a real challenge. So it's a brand new challenge. And one that I never thought you would have to deal with, Evelyn, which is why I've never trained you for this. So here we are. So are we feeling okay about contextualization or no? What's up, Andrew? Yeah, you just won't score points for saying French Revolution or American Revolution. You're just going to have to give just a little bit more evidence. Does that make sense? So you can say like the success of the American Revolution under the leadership of George Washington, then it will score. Does that make sense? So instead of, and beforehand you could have said, you could have been a little bit more vague. So you're just going to have to add a little bit more evidence. But the problem is that the bar for contextualization has been lifted in order to earn that point. So the only way to earn that point is to be giving more evidence. That's the problem. Sorry, sweetie. All right. Shall we look at number 3? Hello? Vishnavi, are you doing okay? You just look miserable over there. You're what?
I'm fine.
I know. But keep in mind, these are skills that we have been practicing. We just need to tweak them a little bit, right? So I hope that you see, ladies and gentlemen, why I'm doing a second thing today, because we have no school tomorrow. I hope that you see why, because I just want to make sure we're clearly going over some things. So if you can come to my 1 o'clock meeting, great. If you can't, I'm more than happy to talk to myself and kind of go through things as well. But keep in mind, you are responsible for practice packet number 1 and number 2. And of course, I'll be focusing on number 2 at 1 o'clock today. So let me pull up the prompts again for what we're doing. For question number 3, using the documents provided, evaluate the extent to which Christianity changed societies in Latin America from 1500 to 1800. Ooh. So we have, number 3. Oh, I know, but you have it on yours. Hold on. I'm just making a quick little note on mine. Hold on. So Christianity. This thing is really not that user-friendly. I promise. Like, I'm not trying to be a brat. Christianity, Latin America. And this is 1500 to 1800. Okay. So let me fix that. Make sure. I have way too much going on my screen. I have lost all of your faces. Oh, I found your faces. Here we go. It's really not as user-friendly as you think it is, and especially with everything that I have going on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, can you see what I've written now? Yes, we're good? We're back in business? Perfect. All right, so here we go. So prompt number 3 was talking about Christianity in Latin America between 1500 and 1800. All right, so here we go. Let's brainstorm. What are some things that are happening in the world between 1500 and 1800? Oh, God, guys. Come on. We only have 15 more minutes together.
The Spanish took over the Mesoamerican societies and Latin American societies.
Yeah, first of all, we have the age of exploration, correct? We have the age of exploration. Okay, what's another major thing that gets open during the age of exploration?
Columbian Exchange.
Yeah, the Columbian Exchange. Okay, what else is happening here, ladies and gentlemen? What else is going on in the world?
Triangular trade.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Triangular trade is something we could mention. Okay, we have that happening. What else? Anything else? We just have straight up colonization. Can we agree? Colonization of New World. This is kind of going to what JP was talking about a little bit earlier, colonization of New World. And who are our major leaders in this? Spain is what JP mentioned. And who else is coming over here? Portugal. So, because we're talking about Latin America. So, if we're talking about Latin America, you obviously have to have Spain because most of Latin America speaks what language today? Spanish. However, we also have Portugal is over here because of what country, JP? There you go. All right. So, here we go. So, what I would like you to do is I am going to hide my answer and you're going to write a contextualization without me and then we'll compare. How's that? Doesn't that sound fun? So I'm going to show you. One of my students bought me a Beyonce candle, as you can see. So I will let you look at my Beyonce candle and maybe she will inspire you to write a perfect contextualization. All right. Yes, Evelyn, it's just sitting on my kitchen table. Okay, Evelyn, don't judge. Here we go. So you're going to write a contextualization. I'm going to write a contextualization, and we'll come together here in about 3 minutes. Go. All right, here we go. So, did Beyonce help you? Did you feel inspired? Good. I'm so glad. All right. So, when we're talking about contextualization, just a reminder of what the prompt was is using the documents provided, evaluate the extent to which Christianity changed societies in Latin America in the period of 1500 to 1800. So before I show you mine, everyone underline the fact that you had the date range of 1500 to 1800 mentioned. It needs to be there. It needs to be there. So, okay. So you have to show in your contextualization the evolution of how Christianity changed societies. So what I wrote in mine, and make a comparison to yours, of course, is during the time period of 1500 to 1800, so I have my date range, the world dramatically changed due to the age of exploration, opening up the new world to European influence in old world politics. You'll even notice I put a sentence, like that's one sentence. Are you proud? I usually do one big one, so there you go. Changes to Latin America from European society will affect their culture, politics, and lifestyle due to the intrusion and suppression of countries, due to the intrusion and suppression by countries like Spain and Portugal in the Americas. Okay, so I've talked about how it's going to have a political and lifestyle changes. I've talked about old world politics. Okay, I've talked about how I brought up Spain and Portugal are going to be the two biggest ones. So that is mine. How did yours compare? Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do we got? Why? Okay, if you have an why? Alexandra, yours looks like an why?
I feel like I kind of strayed away from the changes of Latin America.
Okay.
Kind of like almost was drawing it closer to talking about colonization than I was Christianity.
That's okay. That's okay. But keep in mind what the prompt is. If you tied it back to Christianity, it would score better. Does that make sense? Now, keep in mind, Alexandra, in mine, I don't really talk about Christianity, do I? Not really, because I'm talking about politics, I'm talking about lifestyle, I'm talking about all these other things, which in my essay will give me access to. Does that make sense? Because in contextualization, we're just trying to lay down the foundation for us so that we can kind of propel our way into it. So as long as you're laying a foundation in order to get into it, then it will work. Does that make sense? You just can't completely cross it off and make it not an option. So as long as you're kind of laying down the foundation, it can be vague. Contextualization is vague, ladies and gentlemen. It is vague. It is vague. You are simply trying to show that you understand what is happening in the world at this time. That's it. So my answer is not the only correct answer. If you didn't write exactly what I have, it doesn't mean your answer is wrong. But as you see, I brought in a bunch of terms, like, let me show you my screen again. I brought in a bunch of terms that I can easily jump from later and discuss. And that's the point. Like I talked old world, so I can talk about new world versus old world politics. And I can talk about new world changes in Christianity. So if I want to talk about new world changes, what is something I could use as a piece of evidence to support new world changes? Ren's going to be so upset. She's like the patron saint of Mexico. The Virgin of Guadalupe? Yes? Yes? Okay, that's a very American thing. I can use that as an access point. We can talk about lifestyle, politics. Okay, we can talk about the changes. We can talk about how the Spanish are going to really, really, really promote Christianity, specifically Catholicism. Portugal is going to do an okay job about it, stuff like that. So as long as you're using it as a starting point, Alexandra, and it's kind of vague, it's okay. There's no expectation. It's perfectly fine. All right. So for people who did, why? What's the problem? Do we understand what we're doing here, or are we confused?
I just like wrote down the bullet points with like some transition breaking. I don't really know what's happening.
Why? So what we've done here in our brainstorming is that we're just trying to come up with major things that are happening in the world. So we're just like we're just trying to brainstorm just some random things that are happening during this time period. Does that make sense? Are you with me on that, Cadence? Okay, so we're just simply looking at the prompt and we're just like, okay, look at the time period. These are the major things that are going on. Then we need to really make sure that we understand the Christianity component. So if we're talking about Christianity, then we are talking about bringing it from old world to new world, which is why I focused on, the Columbian Exchange, okay, and the colonization of Spain and Portugal. So by pulling out these two things, and I did cite the Age of Exploration because it does open up the Columbian Exchange and stuff like that, we are just trying to pull in as much outside content as possible because the bar has been moved up. That's it. We're looking at the big picture. We're trying to figure out exactly what is happening in the world, and we're trying to lay down the foundation so we can easily jump into our essay. Is that better? Does that make a little bit more sense for you, Cadence? If you don't agree, you let me know and I'll try to come at it in a different way. You're okay? Because your face tells me you're not okay, but you're trying to be okay.
It just kind of feels like a thesis.
Well, we haven't written the thesis yet. Is it because we're just putting more information than we have? Is that what's getting you?
I think so, maybe. Just like the fact that we're like not using evidence and like time periods. I think it just kind of feels much different than it is.
Well, and keep in mind, and I get it, and I absolutely get it, which is why we're going through contextualization, because the bar has been stepped up. That's the problem. You used to have 27 points, now you only have 10, so we need to make sure we're crossing things off. So you are correct. There is more of a standard and more of an expectation for content to be in your contextualization than there was before. So you're completely right. Your thoughts right here, your transitional concerns that you're having right now are completely justified, Cadence. You are not wrong at all. The problem is that the expectation is just a little bit higher. And that's where the transition comes, and that's why I'm spending our day today discussing it. And that's why. So it's kind of like a thesis. Now, would you like to see what my thesis would be for this? Would that make you feel more comfortable?
No, it's fine. I just kind of wanted to do it so we can get more done.
All right. All right. All right. So number 3 is done. So let's go to number 4. So reading off of page number 4, using the documents provided, evaluate the extent to which the Chinese embraced westernization in the period of 1850 to 1920. So Chinese embraced westernization, 1850 to 1920. Okay, so what are some major things that are happening during this time? Oh my God, guys, we only have 2 minutes left.
Opium War.
I don't know. Okay, so we do have the Opium War for sure. Opium War, we can definitely wiggle in there. We have the Opium War going on. What else we got? Spheres of influence, faux show. Okay, what else we got?
The British kind of took advantage of them economically.
Yeah, but that's spheres of influence. That would be the vocab term. How the Chinese embrace westernization. Does anyone remember? Does anyone remember the queen, who is going to try to support Europeans? Oh, you can't see my list. Sorry. Empress. No, Queen Sisi. Empress Sisi of China. And who is the last Chinese dynasty, ladies and gentlemen? Oh no. It's the Qing. The Qing. Who are really the Manchus. Oh geez, guys. Oh geez. All right. So Ladies and gentlemen, it is officially 10 o'clock. So we've brainstormed. These are the major things that are happening. So what you need to do is write your contextualization for number 4 and number 5. With that being said, this is due on Monday by 9 a.m. So you can just take a picture. If you're writing it just like I am, then that is perfectly fine. That is all I want. If you're typing it into a document, you are more than welcome to submit that document to me. It's completely and utterly whatever you feel like. Keep in mind, things have changed with this new rubric. The standard of expectation for your contextualization has gone up, which is what Cadence and I were discussing a few minutes ago. The expectation has gone up to earn that point. Beforehand, you can be a lot more vague. Now the expectation has gone up. So, sure, of course. The one I just did, my Elmo one. There you go. All right, perfect, darling. So keep in mind, the expectation has gone up, and that is why we're adding a little bit more information. Now, next year, when you do this in a push, will you have to include this much information? No. Is it the worst thing? No. But do you have to? No, because it'll be easier to score. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is due by Monday at 9 a.m. You also have a DBQ number 2 assignment that you need to have done. And I'm working on that. If you would like to join me at 1 o'clock, I've sent you the Zoom invitation already. So if you would like to join me, you are more than welcome to. And we are going to be working on documents like Evelyn was asking about earlier. So questions, concerns, comments. So you have 2 assignments due on Monday by 9 a.m. DBQ number 1 practice, which is what we worked on. We're on number 4 out of 5. And then we're doing number 2 at 1 o'clock. I am recording it and I will post it on Plant Lectures. Everyone okay? All right. I would finish this up. I would probably just sit here and just grind out for 15 minutes, 20 minutes and finish it, don't you think? Since you're in the mindset, yes or not, do you? It's you. Anyway, goodbye, my darlings. Maybe I'll see you later. Maybe I won't. Here,